Well, now, yeah. So they want to take
Oh, my friend, my mom's prescription and handed it out today.
yeah, what's our ever like in I don't even know where it is. Yeah.
See, Rite Aid is a good place to go. Well, we didn't know what was going on. Walmart could see the flames, or not the flames, so we wanted to make sure that we didn't expect any disasters. Yeah. Yeah, well, he was in the car. Oh, no, I don't blame him. So my son is here. He works for med school. He's going to school to be a med. Oh, CPT. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. No. I'm so scared. This is where I would probably cut. You can walk around there.
You can walk around there.
Okay. Okay. I'm just like, I wonder if they're going to use this as a staging area or.
Well, that's what they're doing right over there.
But I hope I understand that on here. They were.
Thank you.
Because this is an active shooting.
I'm going to.
Charlie, when you get on the scene, we know that a press conference is scheduled now for 12:45. Are the police able to speak directly to you? Is there someone in charge that you're looking for to speak with? And will they be able to talk with you when you know that they're about to have a press conference? How forthcoming are they with information?
Yeah, that's really good. Generally speaking, the police will want to reassure the public that there's no danger. That is a very big message to get out. They've already done that. And we're reporting that there's no danger to the public at this point in time, and that's very, very important. But generally speaking, the police will give us the information that they have. See, they're saying, look at Lori, they're moving that perimeter
okay,
more.
yes.
With that yellow tape. We don't cross the yellow tape. We absolutely respect the authorities. They have the authority to completely to block us out, to get us away. But they're trying to
They're doing
set
their
up.
job.
They're doing their job. And so, but the authorities generally are, by the way, that is, so the person with the gun there, don't think that that's a threat. That's just a security, probably for the first responders
also,
as well.
They come on a site and they hear there's an active shooter. They are going to come,
Sure.
with guns.
And they're worried. I mean, they're worried. I mean, I don't want to get too terrible. There could be some.
Did he work alone? Like you
Did
said?
he work alone? I mean, could there be an active situation? Now we got a bunch of people that are, out in this area. I'm not familiar with Grand Blanc, but I can't imagine there's a lot of population. But there's a lot of population in this area at one time, and so that can be the danger as well.
Too.
And at that church, it looks, maybe they had a banquet or something else, something outside. The point of this, the police will give us information. They will tell us generally what they know, and they will say that this is preliminary information, obviously, until they can gather video evidence or they can talk to witnesses, etc. The problem with this one more time, is that much of that evidence, I suspect, has been burned up in the fire. The video, maybe any other, cameras that they would have been installed in the church. Likely they have. That's pretty common. As you can see, there are good shots from this live. These are live pictures right now in the Grand Blanc church. A lot of people we saw likely were evacuated from the church in a safe area. It seems to be safe because of all the yellow tape. The police they do a pretty good job of roping off the area and determining that at this point in time, it's safe. But as you can see, we're quite a distance now away from the fire. So I would suspect that when Ingrid Kelly first arrived, the police said, you're too close. You got to get back. And it's just going to take a while for her to establish herself and then be able to give us some live video. But again, also stay with us. We're going to have a live press conference in probably about 20 minutes or so, 12:45, and then we should get a little more information from the authorities. And I would believe that they would tell us exactly what's going on. Obviously, the big question is what happened. We do understand there was a mass shooting. Not sure how many people were shot. Not sure if there was return fire, etc. But this is at the Grand Blanc Church, obviously in Grand Blanc, Church of the Latter-day Saints. And that's what we know. So far.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing from Ingrid Kelly. She is on the scene, and hopefully we'll be able to give us some more confirmation. Again, several people have been shot. There you go. Several people have been shot. We heard that the active shooter is either he has been grabbed into custody, or perhaps he himself has deceased. We don't know the order or why. We don't know if the burning of the church has something to do with the shooting. All we know is that there is a 4-alarm fire that is out there right now, and we have several crews that are out there fighting it. Charlie, again, this is live video, so if it looks a little bit hectic, it's because they're just trying to get to their specific spot. You said that normally, and we did see them pull out the yellow tape. You need to stay back when the police tell you to stay back.
You got to give the first responders time to go out there and to do their thing. This is likely what they call a fully engulfed fire, just by the smoke that we saw, the number of firefighters on the scene, the fact that we got a report that the fire went to the roof, the fact that there's a ladder up there, which if the fire goes to the roof, I mean, it's very, very difficult because all that water goes down into the first floor, and it's pretty much done at this point in time.
Let's tell people if they are looking for their loved ones that they know may have been in service, where they should go. They could go to the reunification site, is the pavilion to the north. Hopefully you're familiar with that. Or the offsite reunification is at Trillium Theater at the corner of Holly and McCandlish. If you are in that area, you have additional information, feel free to share it with us on social media or call into the news desk. The main thing, though, is if somebody thought you were going to be at that church this morning, you want to let your loved ones know where you are and that you're safe. If you're looking for someone in particular, again, those two reunification sites are open and available to you to check in and to maybe check on someone that's been in the area. We do have reports that there are several victims, and we're working to confirm that.
We
Charlie?
have some unconfirmed reports. There is as many as 8 victims. However, that is an unconfirmed report, but that's still a number of victims in this mass shooting that took place just before 11 o'clock today is when we first received notice that there was a mass shooting at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is in Grand Blanc. This was a church, obviously a Sunday. We don't know how many people were at the church, but from the information and the people that we saw a little while ago on video, there were quite a bit of people in the church. The police did release a statement saying that the church is on McCandlish Road. They only said that there were multiple victims, but the police also said that the shooter is down. Didn't describe what down means, but I'm assuming, because they go on to say that there's no threat to the public at this time. That was when the police issued a press release, which is just about an hour or so ago. However, the problem for the authorities is that the church was on fire and the smoke could be seen for miles, both very thick black smoke. And we understand that the fire was in the church, a roof of the church. Now, we saw a number of people being escorted out of the church by police. Some of them had masks. We also saw at least one stretcher. So we know that there certainly are injuries. The police confirmed that. For people on the site, there is a reunification site. It's in the pavilion to the north, but that off-site reunification will be at the Trillium Theater at Holly and McCandlish Road. However, police are telling everyone to avoid the area. And as we saw earlier, it looks like there's only maybe one road that leads to the church. I don't know that for sure, but that is a very strategic place because the police must have the access to go in and out of that situation. So we are keeping an active watch on this, and that is important. It looks like we're getting some more information, Lori. We just got this in. The Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson, he is on the scene. He is reporting now that both the federal, state, and local authorities are working this incident. He says the shooter is down. He also says the entire church is on fire. We've seen that in our own video. There's a lot of things that are happening. The police are not able to communicate at this time. However, we do know that there will be a press conference at least set for 12:45, about 20 minutes or so from now. Stay with us. We will bring you that press conference certainly when that happens. But there's a lot of issues that the police are still doing it. They do emphasize, authorities now, that the scene is no longer a threat. So even though there was an active shooter, it looks like that shooter has been down. I don't really know what that means, but it looks like that shooter is not a threat.
So you're referring to the shooting itself, not so much the fire. I'm sure they don't want anybody close enough to the perimeter of the fire as well.
I tell you, you go right to that fire, right to that yellow tape, and they're going to kick you out so fast. And that's the other thing too, is it looks like they've now pushed the perimeter back just to make sure that both the road is clear and that there's no danger to any of the public that would be gathered to watch this, or certainly the media that's gathering right now. We do know that Ingrid Kelly is there. She is trying to set up and establish her shots so she can give us a firsthand report from the scene.
We're working to get you some live video back in tape right now. We do have our chopper on the way. Again, you mentioned that Ingrid is on the ground, so hopefully we'll be able to get some updated video for you. But this definitely is telling the tale. Reporters arriving on scene, you said the perimeter is going to keep them pushed back, but we are aware that it is a 4-alarm fire. So this is a big fire. As you've been saying, fire initially, we had reports that the roof was on fire, which would definitely cause damage. Again, researching black smoke usually means that it's burning combustibles, petroleum, rubber, something like that within the church that would be harmful to obviously breathe. Fortunately, the winds are not up very high, still in that 5 to 10 mile per hour range coming at us out of the northeast. So that working within its favor, Charlie, but a lot of the other things is the largeness of the fire itself. I'm sure crews are working. They can't really give us much information because they're right there on the scene.
And the other thing too is obviously what caused the fire. Is the fire related to the shooting? Is there a relationship? Did the shooter set the fire, etc.? Some of that's going to have to be determined. I'm guessing by the arson team that will go out and do an assessment after they put out the fire. You can see Ingrid
Going
Kelly
live now. You can see Ingrid's right there on the scene. Hopefully, she'll be getting some information.
She probably I don't know if she can hear us right now, but she's right up to that yellow tape. And right by the number of ambulances that you can see there, but they've it looks like it's in a residential area. You can probably smell the smoke from there as well. The fire situation, can you imagine the first responders that they're right in this thing? So they've got to be careful themselves.
But like you said, they trade off too, right?
They do. They have to. They have to because it's an active scene, but it's a very, potentially dangerous scene for them. And so they've got to keep that road clear. They've got to make sure that they can go in and out quickly. Obviously, you can see it's somewhat of a residential area, but it looks like there's only really one road. I don't have a map at this point in time in front of me, but it doesn't look like it's a very busy road with only one major road for ingress and egress, and that could be say a problem, but it's certainly an issue that the first responders are going to have to deal with. They're going to take up most of that road because they need it to get those first responders in and out and extra teams if in fact that happens. You can see the number of ambulances there, the fire personnel, police officers, and we found out that both the feds and the state and local law enforcement, they're working this incident, which started as a mass shooter just before 11 o'clock this morning. And then the shooter is down. That's according to police. There's no danger to the public. That's also according to police. And now they have to deal with this very massive fire. There you go again.
And if you're wondering, where is Grand Blanc? It's about 60 miles north of the city, just to the south of Frankenmuth, about a 55-minute drive from Detroit. Okay, they're putting out more yellow tape for the perimeter.
Yeah, they want to make sure that everybody is safe. That's a precaution that they want to do. And we work with the law enforcement authorities. We respect their decision, and they've got a job to do to make sure that everybody is safe in the public. Probably within the next 15 minutes or so, we should be able to get a report from the police. It looks like they're going to be doing a press conference, which actually is. If this incident started at 11, to have a press conference within an hour and a half or so, it's pretty good. Again, first responders are still on the scene. They want to make sure that it's still a crime scene because of the shooting. Hopefully that there are no serious injuries. We just don't know at this particular time, either from a shooting or from the fire.
Well, we saw people being taken out on stretchers. So we don't, like you said, we don't know if it has something to do with the fire itself. Were they in the building? Were they in the church? Were they around it? Or are they injured because of the shooting?
Yeah, that's something that we're going to have to figure out as well. We're going to try to go to Ingrid Kelly at some point. She is there, but listen, Ingrid's got to make sure that she is safe as well because she is with one of the officers from the Davison Township Police. If we can go to Ingrid, if that's possible, we're going to try to figure that out. The problem, though, is just able to get a line out there. It is difficult. But generally speaking, I know, Laura, you asked the question before, is that generally police officers are cooperative because they want to make sure that they, despite the fact that this is a shooting in a church, they want to reassure the public that there's no safety issues and no danger to the public at this point in time, which we've been assured that there's no danger to the public at this point in time. So Ingrid, and also on the scene, you can see Ingrid working. This is a good. She's but that's what you do when you pull up. We don't really know the facts, and so you've got to get it. We like to talk to witnesses, but the most reliable sources would be the personnel, the fire department, or the police department, whoever will be able to talk.
It looks like she's getting into place there. She's got her mic. Hopefully, she'll be able to give us an update.
Yeah. Again, there may be a little bit of a technical issue. This is a police officer. It looks like from the Davison Police Department, as I understand it. Maybe she could just do a phone.
Rendon, R-E-N-D-O-N.
She's
Okay,
probably
and
doing
just
this
talk to me
at
about
the
your
time.
what police agency are you from?
Davison Township Police, yes. We were advised of an active shooter situation at a church down here. It was active while it was active while it was happening. I sent out a text to all of our guys, everybody go, everybody on duty, everybody off duty, everybody in and gone, including myself. So got here, the church was on fire, the gunman was down, and it's just been a very busy scene, as you can imagine.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right, mine really quick. Go ahead. Okay. The situation, the shooter is down. Right now, we're trying to go through, take care of any casualties and anybody needing medical. So it's a very active situation. But again, right now it's just a investigation, very active investigation.
Ongoing fire?
Yes, it's a big fire.
And you are, I'm sorry?
Davison Township Police Chief Jay Rendon. Okay. Yep. All right. Can I have somebody step on one end of that?
All right, so we have some additional information. Ingrid was interviewing Jay Rinder.
Thank you,
Said
sir.
that the shooter is down, as you mentioned, Charlie. There are some casualties. This is an active situation.
I say we just break down
active
to that.
investigation.
Let me see what they
Fire is
want.
ongoing as well. We're hoping to get some additional
And then we just you got it.
basically.
We gotta go.
Okay,
We gotta get to
okay,
that police
let's
station.
let's go.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, all right then.
And he may not know either. So the other issue is which police authority takes the lead. Generally speaking, that is an issue actually. Generally speaking, obviously it's the city that it's in, but not
Grand Blanc.
necessarily. I don't know Grand Blanc. We haven't had a lot of stories in Grand Blanc. Sometimes the Michigan State Police will take charge of the situation depending on how big it is, etc. But if it's Grand Blanc or David, I wouldn't think it's Davison, but if it's Grand Blanc, it's Grand Blanc. So as we know, as we've learned again from Oxford and some other situations, there's always someone on the scene that kind of takes charge. And it's usually the city where the incident takes place. There are exceptions, though, to that.
Well, all of our updates have been from Grand Blanc Police, but you're saying that another
It
police
could.
department could come in there just east of Lansing.
So if there's a shooter, then, ATF comes in because you want to get that gun. That's another big deal. If there's a shooter, you always want the gun. The gun gives you so much evidence, generally speaking. It gives you a lot of evidence where the gun was purchased, the ammunition used, the bullets, all of those things. It's just a big deal. But usually local authorities will sit in, and then it's up to the feds to take it from there. And we already had confirmation that the feds are working with the local authorities to try to put something together to make sense of what's happening right now.
Well, we're hoping for some additional information. That press conference should be just 10 minutes away, Charlie. So hopefully we'll get some additional.
So maybe chopper
is this
video.
Our chopper.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to get chopper video. Chopper is now looking down on the area. Nice area there. But we want to get a little closer to the church. This is the Church of the Latter-day Saints. It's on a Sunday. We don't know if they had services, although we saw a lot of people looking like they were being escorted from the church. Some had masks on. We did see a stretcher, as you pointed out earlier. So we do know there are casualties.
Several
Not sure of the
stretchers,
extent
actually.
of the injuries, but we do know that that did happen. It's a beautiful home. That is not the church.
That is not the church.
No, that is
We
not the
would
church.
see a lot more smoke if that was the church, but this is live and the chopper on the way there, so we'll be able to get more of a bird's eye view as to what's going on. As you say, the perimeter keeps getting set back, so this chopper video will be excellent for us to get more of an idea of what's going on.
And we want to make sure that the fire is under control too. That is a priority now. The fire department is going to make sure that the fire is under control. It looks like it's under control, but it's still burning. Is that the live picture as well?
Okay.
This is
Video,
not.
okay.
This is video just a short moment ago. As you can see, as Lori was talking about the black smoke, which could be, it could be an older church. It could be a whole bunch of things in there creating that black smoke, which the fire department knows about. They know how to put out the different kinds of smoke. They know what they're doing. And it does look like it's in a relatively secluded area. The wind factor is not a factor at this point in time. So the fire department just have to put enough water on this, make sure the water supply is good to put that fire out. And at that point in time, usually the protocol is that after the fire is completely out, the arson team will go in there. Again, this started though as an active shooter situation.
Yes.
So it appears that someone went into the church of the Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc,
Yeah.
just before 11 o'clock this morning, presumably started shooting. We do know there are casualties, and then somehow the church got on fire. We don't know if there's a relationship at this point.
We got first reports of this at about 11:20, 11:25, that we had reports at the Latter-day Saints Church that there was an active shooter, and that police were encouraging people to stay out of the area, that there were several victims associated with this, and that the shooter was down. And we just have confirmation from Jay Rinder that the shooter is no longer a factor and that the public is safe.
And those are all good things. So we are getting communication from the authorities there. And we should have a press conference within, I would say, about 10 minutes or so. When we get that, we'll certainly give that to you. We'll get more information at this point in time. But obviously, a lot of questions to be answered. What's the association of anything with the shooter to the church? Why he chose this particular church?
Motive is always something.
And certainly we want to get an update on those casualties. We do know that there are injuries. We don't know the severity of the injuries. You can see now they want to keep that road open. I'm guessing that that's a main road leading into the church. And at this point in time, they need it for personnel. I would bet you there's going to be some kind of a firefighter or an ambulance trying to get through. Let's see if that's happening. What do you know?
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So that's what they want. They need those extra trucks to get in there, and that is one of the reasons why they put that yellow tape to keep everybody out, so they can keep that road clear.
And you also mentioned that since we do have confirmation it's a 4-alarm fire, that there are usually units from other locations that will come and help. Is that pretty much true?
Yeah, so that could be something. There is an issue of the chopper going up there. There are a lot of rules for flying, and we got this that there's an airport not too far from there.
So it can't be in the space then?
Yeah, there could be some restrictions going in there. So the chopper can only do what it can do. We know that people do fly drones as well, but there are a lot of restrictions on flying. Even when we go do our stories, we have to get permission not only from the Fox stations, but also from the feds to make sure that we do not interfere with any airports. And it looks like there's an airport not too far from here, so that may be a no-fly zone in this area. I don't know how far this church is from an airport, but if it is, that could present just a little bit of a problem. That's why we're waiting to make sure that we can get some chopper video of the church. As someone, there's some social media saying basically that this was a fire in which the roof was on fire, which is pretty bad. What's that fire? You can see the smoke there, the black smoke going for miles and miles. So my guess is that this church is fully engulfed. That's a term meaning that this is not. It's going to be a total loss.
Not salvageable.
Not salvageable at this point in time. The firefighters can't risk going in there, that's for sure. And then
you mentioned there's probably several hot spots as well.
Well, the hot spots. So it's interesting on the hot spots. That's why the wind factor is a big factor. Hot spots will occur when the fire is out, but because it's such a massive building, fires can start erupting again. That's a pretty common situation. So even though the fire may be out or controlled, hot spots develop, which again make it more difficult. You can't go into a fire even when it's out. And I would suspect that, even tomorrow or this week will be the first time that authorities can probably go in to do their investigation at this point in time. The other thing too is because the extent of the fire, a lot of evidence may have been lost. There may be cameras there. I don't know if they're operable. I kind of doubt it at this point in time. So we may not know other than from witnesses who were in the church. But as far as video evidence, unless there's cell phone video or some other kind of video, which would help in piecing together exactly what happened. Again, this started as a shooting situation inside the church, which then escalated into this massive fire that we are seeing now in Grand Blanc.
Yeah, difficult to know like what the order is even of this. Did this shooting occur concurrently with the burning of the church, or did that happen first? Or so we don't know if the two are connected in any way. We're still working to get information on this. We've got our reporter Ingrid Kelly, who's excellent, on the scene. And again, Charlie, we're about 3 minutes out from this press conference, unless it gets pushed back a little bit, hoping for a little bit more information.
So we're taking a look there. There are a number of people that are beyond the perimeter that's being set up. I don't know if those are the people that were in the church. We do know that there were some evacuations because the police set up a reunification center. So presumably there were people inside the church. Looks like quite a few, but again, we don't know that until the authorities confirm it. However, those people probably will want to be talked to by the police before us. Because again, this is still a crime scene at this point in time, and the police still have to do an investigation, especially because we do know that there are casualties, there are injuries, the extent of which we just don't know. So there's someone right there.
But this is not live. This is video from earlier, but still we saw several stretchers like this where people were being taken out. So we don't know if they were injured in association with the fire, or perhaps were they injured maybe associated with the shooting. So,
and that's what the authorities will have to gather there. All right. So,
well, I am going to relinquish this to Robin right now, Robin Murdoch, and Charlie. Hopefully, we'll get some more information as to what's going on.
All right, Lori Pinson, thank you for excellent coverage here, live on the spot during your stream, giving us the coverage, the sad coverage, unfortunately, of this shooting that happened at the Grand Rapids Church. We will make the exchange. Robin Murdoch will join me in just a moment or so. We're still waiting for the Grand Rapids Police Department Grand Blanc Police Department to give us an update. They should be doing a press conference at some point in time, which will then give us some of the information that we don't know. We heard Ingrid Kelly is on the scene right now. She's gathering information. She talked to the chief of the Davison Township Police Department, which basically confirmed a lot of the information that we had, where there was a shooter in the Church of the Latter-day Saints. There are casualties. The shooter is down. Don't know exactly what that means, but the police say that there's no danger to authorities. We know that. However, the church is on fire. And it was an extensive fire, a 4-alarm fire. Looks like people right there were evacuated from the church. You can see stretchers taking people away, presumably to the hospitals. Again, we don't know the extent of the injuries or the number. We heard 8, but it could have been, we just don't know yet. We hopefully will get that update as soon as possible. We know that they've set up a reunification center near the church. And the police also say they want people to avoid the area. This is video from before. This is not live at this point, but you can see the extent of the smoke, which could be seen for miles. We also saw that the police set up a perimeter. That was that yellow tape, but they moved the perimeter back and back. Not unusual in any situation where there was a shooter, and to some extent when there's a fire. The police want to make sure, number one, for safety, and number two, they need that road to get in and out of. Robin Murdoch joins me at this point in time. Good morning, Robin. What do you make of this? We've both been on these scenes together. What's going to happen now?
Well, police are just getting to the scene, trying to figure out exactly what is going on. And this is pretty interesting, Charlie, because as you know, we just went through training at our station earlier this week, having to do with a situation about how you react in a mass shooting. And so we know from the training that we went through, the first thing that police are going to do when they get to a scene is immediately try and make sure that the gunman or suspect that may be responsible for the shooting, they need to get eyes on this person. Because they want to try and alleviate the threat. So we do know that the suspect in this case is down. The shooter is down.
What do you make of that shooter? Because I can't figure out. Does that mean that he is he is in custody, or does that mean that he is deceased? Is that, I don't know what that means.
You know, most of the time when they talk about a shooter being down, Charlie, it indicates that perhaps, you know, somebody has been hit by gunfire. You know, the condition is unclear, but usually that is the indication that somebody has been shot when they say that a shooter is down or somebody is in down. You know, we do, obviously we've got crews out at that scene right now. They're doing the best that they can to gather information as it does become available, you know, just like investigators are trying to figure out exactly what is happening. And so one of our photographers out there was able to interview a victim or a resident from that area. So let's take a listen what that resident had to say. Okay, so we're having a little bit of issue getting that information on air. Before I sat in this chair, though, I did listen to what that gentleman had to say. And he was talking about how he was actually driving away from the shooting, and the suspect fired at his vehicle. He said that his number one priority was making sure that his wife was okay. And thankfully, his child was in another vehicle. So that gentleman that you just heard from, or that we tried to give you that interview, he does have some injuries as a result of the windshield, I believe, shattering from the gunfire. So we're going to try and get that to you as soon as we can. Charlie, I do want to mention, though, that a number of people are starting to speak out on X. Attorney General Pam Bondi, she actually said on X a short time ago that such violence at a place of worship is heartbreaking and chilling, and that she, of course, is praying for the victims and their families. The director of the FBI also going on X right now saying violence is a place of worship, is a cowardly and criminal act. Our prayers are with the victims as well as their families during this tragedy. So, you know, a lot of people starting to react, word starting to get out all across the country, not just here in Michigan. A lot of people are paying attention to this. We do know that there's a number of investigators, state, federal, local investigators are all working on this. So it really is all hands on deck. We're going to try and bring you that interview with that gentleman who was racing away from the scene when his vehicle was shot by the suspect. Take a listen.
On the phone with him when the shooter came out the door, and then that's when I just put pedal to the metal to try to get out, and that's when he started shooting at our vehicle, and that's what you saw there.
And tell me what led up, like what did you see leading up to your windshield kind of exploding, or the bullet coming through?
Church had started at 10 o'clock. We had our opening congregational hymn. We were getting ready to take the sacrament, and we heard just a loud bang. And then we saw that the front wall, so the front part of the chapel, the wall was cracked. And so we at first figured somebody accidentally had done something. So we started rushing out to go help. And then as soon as I saw the American flags on the truck, and that it was on purpose, and somebody yelled that it was on purpose, we were actually on the phone with him when the shooter came out the door.
And that again was a man who was at the church when the shooting broke out this morning. Again, we're awaiting a press conference in which we're hoping to get a lot more details about exactly what happened this morning. At this point, I can tell you, and I know a bunch of reporters at the station started getting texts from our sources and calls from our sources right around 11 o'clock this morning. That is when that gunfire broke out at the Church of Latter-day Saints in Grand Old Township. Again, we do know that multiple victims were shot. We're still waiting to hear an exact number, still waiting to hear an exact condition. We do know that the suspect is down. Exactly what that means, we're still trying to figure that out at this point. Still trying to figure out whether the suspect is just in custody, whether he has actually been injured. So hopefully we'll get some clarity on that during that press conference. We do know that the church is on fire right now. Police are currently dealing with that. And the sheriff of Genesee County not too long ago, he went to Facebook. He's really good about updating the public. He did go to Facebook, letting them know exactly what is going on. And the sheriff of Genesee County, Chris Swanson, describing this as a very dynamic scene with lots of people involved in this. He said multiple police agencies are involved. They're obviously dealing with a shooting, a fire, just a lot happening all at once. And he said that this is the type of thing that we train for, all of this happening all at once. And as I mentioned, this is something that we have to train in our station earlier this week to tell us exactly what we're supposed to do in a situation like this. So it'll be interesting to hear the reaction from the people who were there, the churchgoers who were there when all of this was happening, what they did the moment that they heard that gunfire that was going on all around them. Again, we are waiting for a press conference to happen here shortly. We'll be able to get a lot more information. We do have multiple crews out on that scene trying to bring you the very latest as to what is happening with this situation happening in Genesee County right now. Genesee, the Grand Lake Township is exactly where this is, at the McCandless Church. I'm going to send it over to Charlie. He's got some new information, I believe, that he's going to share with us.
Yeah, I've got Ingrid Kelly on the line right now. Ingrid, I know she's getting ready because that press conference is starting, but Ingrid, what can you tell us from the scene right now?
You know what? The scene is very, it's just really heartbreaking to actually see what's going on. We just arrived to the police station. There is a 1 o'clock press conference, which we're gearing up for right now. Obviously, we left the scene. The scene was just emergency crew after emergency crew, one from police to fire to ambulances, just everywhere. Now, when I first arrived to that scene, there were a number of parishioners that were just basically sitting on the ground. They were put into buses and they were taken to an offsite, someplace just to calm them down. I did ask if anyone would talk to me. They said at a later time. Then I made my way closer to the church. It is just a cloud of black smoke coming from that church. The closer we got, eventually emergency crews told us that we had to get back. Then we were able to speak to Jay Rendon from the Davidson Township Police Department. And what he said, he was at home. Like most people today, they were gearing up for this Lions game. And then that's when they got the call that this was going on. He did tell us, he confirmed that the shooter is down. We do know that there are a number of victims. We're waiting to hear more about their status and what's going on. We're going to get that from police at this press conference.
Ingrid,
but again, it's just...
Ingrid, can I interrupt you for a moment? When you say the shooter is down, does that mean he's killed? He's in custody? Or what does that mean?
Exactly. I'm waiting for clarification on that too. Jay Rendon from the Davidson Township Police Department made it clear that he could not say a lot. He's not a part of the investigative agency. He's one of the responding units, and it's not their scene. But he did say that it's down, and because the shooter or the suspect is down, basically there's not a threat right now. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Is this a Grand Blanc investigation? Is this the lead? Is that where this is at, this church?
For now. I know Jay Rendon thought perhaps maybe Michigan State Police might end up taking this over.
Yeah, we're seeing a Michigan State Police car on. This is a recorded video that we have earlier. The other thing is, as far as casualties, did he give you any indication of the extent of the casualties? How hurt are the people?
Exactly. I'm waiting. I hope to have more details. We're going to take this press conference live. People at the scene, there were a number of people, but they were all busy and they would not provide a lot of details. I do believe that one of my colleagues did get an interview with one of the victims. So we're hoping to learn more at this press conference, official information from police.
And at this point in time, how close did you get to the actual church that's on fire? You described it, but it looks like you were
close.
Yeah.
I got pretty close at one point, close enough that actually the air and the quality of the air was impacting me just because of all the smoke. So they, police, they wanted us to get back, obviously for our safety, but also too, at one point I started to see people like just being brought out on stretchers.
Do you know if there's only one road to get to this church? I don't know how rural this church is, but it looks like they've got they're keeping it one road.
For a second and give some commentary.
It looked like there was only one road. I believe that's Holly Road that was leading up to this church. And again, with all of that smoke, I'm wondering.
Done this before. And as soon as this is all over, I can't figure out how to do it now to put it the description, but I'll put their link in the description and what this was all about and the disclaimer of fair use. So hopefully I did have it scrolling around, but I can't figure out how to do it now. But it's just going to take time for me to figure it out. All right, well, we'll get back to it. Thank you.
What's left of the church.
Right.
But again, I hope to get some answers here at this press conference in about 3 minutes.
You go anytime you have to go. But does it look like the church was in service at the time the shooter was in the church?
Absolutely. It has to. I mean, it looks like it was only because of the number of parishioners that were out and coming from the church that were on the ground when we first arrived. It looked like that service, it might have been church time, a service time for this particular Church of Latter-day Saints.
Where are you? Where's the press conference?
We're at the Grand Blanc Police Department.
All right. Ingrid Kelly, I will let you go. Thank you so much for that on the scene report. Ingrid Kelly on the scene, giving us really firsthand information about what's happening. And we are getting word that the press conference will start in a matter of moments, and we'll talk to you afterwards. Ingrid Kelly, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And right now, Charlie, this is a live look at the police department where this press conference is going to be happening at any moment. You can see the podium right there empty. We're just waiting for one of the investigators to walk up to the podium and answer all these questions. There are just so many questions right now about what is going on concerning the shooting. Now, from the interview that we had from the gentleman who was shot trying to get away from the scene, whose vehicle was shot trying to get away from the scene, it does sound like everything started to happen when he was inside. It sounded like the sermon was in process. And shortly after that, that is when gunfire just started to happen.
Robin, it looks like we're gonna take this live. This is the press conference here. We'll get more information and we'll come back afterwards. Let's listen in right now.
Ready. So everyone's ready. I gotta put my headphones on because I can't hear it. So if you're trying to call for me, I won't be able to hear you. So I don't like to put the headphones on. Here to give you some preliminary details on an incident that happened earlier today at 10:25 a.m. within Grand Blanc Township. First off, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident, which is completely unnecessary and avoidable. The incident that we're going to talk about here today, as I said, was happening at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 McCandless Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased.
Sorry, y'all.
Officers who were trained immediately responded.
I thought I muted it.
One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect. And that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton.
During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grand Blanc Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We have the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information statements that we have to obtain. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded, the City of Grand Blanc, Genesee County, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Flint Township Police Department, the DNR, the State Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you at 5 p.m., but I am willing to take any questions that you have that I could possibly answer right now.
Chief, can you talk about the kind of the progress of events? Did the suspect set the fire, they get back inside of his vehicle and then ran the front door, or did it all happen at the same time?
So from what I understand, and again, this is just a preliminary investigation right now, from what I have been briefed on, is that he rammed the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots. We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from and how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set, though, by the suspect.
Were they in an active service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible other people helped set the fire? What have you?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this. Sir.
Could you comment at all on the severity of the injuries at this time?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
So a couple, maybe three or two, I'm sorry.
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition. We do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
Any word on the weapon? Yeah.
An assault rifle.
So, as far as ammunition, did he have a lot of ammunition?
That I don't know of yet, and I could get you later.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
Was the suspect known to authorities, and did he have any connection to anyone who was in that church?
Right now, we don't have any of that information, but I'm confident that our investigators, along with the FBI, we're going to end up uncovering all that information and provide that at a later time for you.
Chief, to clarify, you said there may be additional victims like inside the church? Or?
Yes, where the fire was. So, and the reason why we can't confirm that just yet is because it was a large fire, and we do believe that there was people up there that were near that fire and they were unable to get out of the church. So we do believe that we will find additional victims once we're able to search that, once there's no signs of a fire reigniting.
So do you believe then that the victims that are still there, they succumbed to fire injuries or gunshots, or you're not sure?
That I'm not sure, but I could provide all that information hopefully at 5 p.m.
Shots were fired.
Shots were fired, yes.
And he had no idea how many though at this point.
No idea how many at this time. Yeah.
Can you describe it? The church, is there like a worship area and then like a gathering space or something like that?
That I have not been in, so I can't tell you the layout.
Chief, can you kind of describe the process of how things change for tactical response when there's an active fire? Every training I've seen, it's always been a building that has not been on fire. So how do you then deal with an active shooter when you have that situation happening as well?
Well, we are here at Grand Blanc Township, and there's a lot of agencies within the state of Michigan. We are specifically trained to go right to the threat in an active shooter situation. And I'm proud of my guys and the DNR who responded to this scene. who immediately took that suspect out. So there was no additional victims. So it was a great job by our staff. Okay.
So it was a law enforcement officer that neutralized the suspect?
Yes, there was 2 law enforcement officers involved. I will be back here at 5 p.m. to give you additional information and hopefully answer some of the questions that you guys went over here today. So, okay. Supervisor Bennett.
I could just go sit in here. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Well, Scott Bennett, Grand Blanc Township Supervisor. Scott, S-C-O-T-T, Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T. First, let me say we are heartbroken. This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community, and we are heartbroken that it came to Grand Blanc Township. And we're going to do everything we can to support the families, the victims, and our community getting through this situation. And it's something that no community ever wants to have. And we're going to do our best to do everything we can. We appreciate the outpouring of support from our elected leaders from both national and state in offering their assistance. And we probably will take them up on their offers. So we appreciate that very much. And we appreciate the community reaching out to us also. So the details are yet to come, as Chief Rennie has said. And we'll wait for a little bit later today when we have the rest of the situation assessed. But it may take a little while to do that. But thank you for all the support. And I'm sure that the families and the victims are going to need that. It's a tragedy that nobody wants to encounter. Thank you.
Chief, before you step out, can you go over the process for family members, where you want them to go, who they should call to get more information and identification?
Yeah, so those family members, they are in a secure area right now. They have been taken over to Trillium. So that's where the FBI will interview them and then release them from there. So
I mean, in terms of anybody who might be at home who was not there, who wants to check in to see if their loved one is okay, is there a number or place that you want them to go?
yes, you could call the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, 810-424-2611. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, so a lot of information there from the police chief, William Renwy, I believe his name is, but what we know so far, 1 victim dead. There's 10 victims, 1 dead. The suspected shooter also dead, a 40-year-old man from Burton. There may be other victims as the shooter around 10:25 apparently drove his car into the Church of the Latter-day Saints and started shooting. A number of people, hundreds of people were in the service at this time. And it appears that this suspected shooter also deliberately set the fire. Obviously, this is preliminary information, and there will be more information coming out when the authorities can get into the church.
It does sound like, Charlie, they're going to have another press conference at 5 o'clock. So that's going to give them enough time to kind of piece together a lot of these holes and get some more information. One of the things that stuck out to me was the fact that they do believe that they're likely going to have more victims. There was obviously the fire that was going on inside the church at the time. They believe that some people possibly were trapped by that fire. They were not able to get out. So it's unclear at this point whether perhaps they may have been shot as well. So that is something that we're going to keep an eye on. But we do know that 10 people were shot. We've got 10 victims in the situation. 1 is dead. And the chief of police saying that likely there are going to be more victims as the day progresses.
And the suspect, again, a 40-year-old man from Burton, apparently he did engage a gunshot with the police. They were on the scene very quickly, and there were shooting both by the police as well as the shooter. And the police shot the shooter. He is deceased now. That's why there's no danger to the public. But I agree with you. Once they get into the church, there could be more victims. And the fire that we saw was just tremendous. Although the chief didn't mention it, but he just mentioned it. But we saw the pictures. It was a very heavy fire with hundreds of people in a relatively small church with one road to get into that church. There could be quite a bit. Obviously, they have to get the fire is out now, or at least it's under control. I'm sure they're worried about hot spots, but that investigation we're shot again. 10 victims, one person dead. The shooter, just before about around 10:25 this morning, went into this church during an active service and started shooting. And the shooter was taken out by one of the Grand Blanc Township police officers, or some police officer itself.
And, a lot of people in shock over this, Charlie. A lot of people just trying to really grasp as to what's going on. The township supervisor during that press conference just a couple of moments ago said violence just does not happen in this community. This is something that they do not see there. They are heartbroken. They're saddened by this. And, they feel for the families and the victims, because there are going to be so many people who are touched by this. There are hundreds of people, the chief of police said, inside the church at the time of the shooting. I imagine there are adults or probably kids in there. I mean, this is just going to have a ripple effect, whether you were hit, whether you were there, whether you knew a parishioner. I mean, so many people are going to be touched by this tragedy. And really, all eyes are going to be focused on this, as, this is the latest mass shooting to happen in our country right now. Very violent times where, we're seeing these mass shootings more often, unfortunately.
So as we are speaking, the FBI is actually interviewing the hundreds of people that were at the church. They've been secluded in a special area so that the FBI can piece this together and figure out the big question I think everyone really wants to know is, what's the relationship between the shooter and the church? Was he a parishioner? Did he do this to make some kind of a statement? Who is this guy? And why did he do that? And were there any hints that this might happen? That's what the FBI and the authorities are going to be looking to, like any situation. As we know from covering Oxford for such a long time, there may have been indications about the shooter's past that may have triggered something. Again, this is speculation right now. We want to report what we know so far, and we just go over it one more time. 10 victims of a mass shooting in a Grand Blanc church. It happened at 10:25. One of those victims dead. Police did engage gunfire with the shooter, and that shooter is deceased as well. According to the police chief of Grand Blanc Township, because the shooter may have deliberately set that fire, there may be more victims, as the service was in progress at the time of the shooting, and there were hundreds of people in that church. Right now, the victims and the other people that were sent away, they're being investigated, or they're being talked to now by the FBI. At least of those 10, one is dead. There are some in critical condition and others in stable condition. And there will be another update at 5 o'clock today. I think that summarizes it.
Yeah, Charlie, and I want to let you know that Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she is now weighing in on the situation. She did say that my heart is breaking for the Grand Blanc community. Violence is anywhere, especially in a place of worship, is unacceptable. The governor says that I am grateful to the first responders who took action quickly. She says we will continue to monitor the situation and hold the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc very close at this time. So, a lot of people starting to weigh in on this. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, also weighing in earlier, just talking about all how their prayers go out to the victims and the families, and that this type of thing should not happen in a place of worship. We're still waiting to get, more updated information on exactly how many victims are in critical condition, Charlie, how many victims are in stable condition. We do know that, unfortunately, one person was killed by this suspected gunman, a 40-year-old suspect out of Burton. And we're still waiting to hear a little bit more about his past history. I mean, that's gonna be huge if we know that there have been any other, interactions with law enforcement before, if he's made threats previously. All of this stuff is going to be very telling and will be part of this investigation.
And we will get more information perhaps at a 5 o'clock press conference today by authorities where we should have some more information. But I do think the biggest question right now is what's the relationship between the shooter and this particular church in Grand Blanc? Why did he do this on a Sunday during a mass? It appears to be a targeted shooting, although we may never know the full extent of it because this
All right, everybody.
now shot
Well,
by law
I
enforcement.
guess we have
We're on
another
the
press
scene very,
conference
very
at
quickly.
5,
Gotta
so that
give
would
them
be
some
4
credit.
my time because I'm
And they
pretty
did
sure
take
Michigan's
out
an
the
hour
shooter
ahead of
before
me.
he could do
So,
more damage. However, before he was
really
killed,
didn't
it
get much
appears
except for
that he
the
deliberately
shooter is
set this church
deceased.
on fire. And
Not
that the
real
police chief
sure
believes that there may
on
be
the
more
victims, but maybe
victims
at
inside
their next press
the church
conference we will know more.
after they go in
I
there.
just want to
And
give a
Robin,
shout
I mean,
out
we saw
to
the
Fox 2 News
pictures, the
for
video. That was
allowing
a
me to stream
fully
this
engulfed
live.
church. I can't imagine
And thank
anyone
you to
survived.
everybody who came. This is kind of a mess, but you know, this is the first time I've ever done this. So I was really, really worried. But I did put in the description the Fox 2 link. I put the copyright disclaimer. So hopefully everything will be okay and I won't get a copyright. I hope not. All right, so I will see everybody back here at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock Iowa time. I'm not sure where everybody is. But thank you so much for joining me. I don't have an outro or an intro, so I got to work on that today. All right, thanks everybody. Have a good day.